let's talk about emergency funds, the stack of cash that you have to protect yourself when stuff hits the fan.
Hey guys, it's Joseph.
And Tasha with One Big Happy Life. We make videos about how to find balance, build wealth, and live your happy. So if you are all about creating a life that makes you incredibly joyful every day but doesn't break the bank, then this is your spot.
So give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Because really, who doesn't want all those things? Balance, wealth,
Happy,
being
life.
happy. Seems
I want
awesome.
it. Don't you want it? Yes, we know you do. So, thumbs up, subscribe. Don't be shy. Come back, comment. All right. Now let's talk about those emergency funds. Emergency funds.
What is an emergency fund? Well, it is some amount of savings to cover things that you can't possibly predict are going to happen. So that might be something like a job loss, that might be an accident where somebody gets injured, it might be somebody getting sick, it might be just your car needing to get repaired, and it's something that you just can't put in your regular monthly budget. Now, it's recommended that you actually have enough saved up to cover 6 months to a year of your monthly expenses. So that can be a lot, and so that's the goal that we all should strive for, because something like a job loss, sometimes it takes a long time to get back on your feet and find something new, especially if the economy's bad at the same time when it happens.
So let's start with step one of how to build an emergency fund, which is that you have to get your mindset right. And the first thing to remember is that an emergency fund is there to protect you. It is your safety net, the thing that will keep you going if some kind of thing happens in your life that is a big financial upheaval, like Joseph mentioned, a car breaking down or losing a job, or honestly even an extended illness. An emergency fund can help you through. The second mindset point is that you don't have to do it all at once. I know that this video is about how to build an emergency fund fast, and we are going to give you information on how to do it quickly, but it's also okay to say, well, maybe I'll focus on doing the first 3 months quickly and save up my first 3 months, and I feel a little bit better about that. So then I'll slow it down, and over the next 2 or 3 years, I'll build up the next 6 to 12 months. So it's just about getting your mindset right, preparing yourself to save what you need to save, and understanding why you're doing what you're doing and connecting it to your overall well-being, because that's the only way that you're going to stick to it and then not touch it once you've built it.
Right, and a little comforting factor, if none of that bad stuff happens, then you just have this pile of cash, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it goes away. So once you have your mindset right, the next step is to figure out exactly how much you're going to need. Now, I mentioned that the goal is really 6 to 12 months of your regular living expenses for the huge emergencies that you can't really protect yourself against any other way.
So the way that you figure out how much you need is you want to look at your regular budget and see which things you can cut. Like if it was an emergency and you needed to scrunch down and be uber frugal, what items can you cut out of your budget? Once you have that number, then you know that is your bare bones number. And it should be a lot smaller than your typical budget, because your typical budget has cushion built in there for going out to eat and stuff like that that you really don't need to be doing if you're in a drastic emergency. So once you have that number, then you multiply it by 3, and that's how much you'll need to save for 3 months, multiply it by 6 for 6 months, and then 12 to get your full year emergency fund amount.
Now that you know exactly how much you're going to need in the end, take a look at your budget and see how much your current budget surplus, if you took that and saved all of it, how long it would take you to save up your 12 months of monthly expenses. Now, are you comfortable with that length of time?
So to give an example, let's say you figured out that you needed $6,000 for a 3-month emergency fund, and you have $1,000 left over every month after you've paid all your bills. That means it would take you 6 months to save up $6,000. And so you have to think to yourself, well, am I comfortable taking 6 months to save my 3-month emergency fund?
Now, preferably, it's not going to take you more than a year of hardcore savings to get that 3 months. And if it does take longer than that, then you might want to consider changing your current budget to hit it even faster.
So now let's talk about, let's say you're not comfortable with that amount, like Joseph said, and you want to build your emergency fund even faster. So you've got two options for that, which we're going to talk about now, which is you can save more money, so find things to cut in your budget, or you can make more money. So let's talk about some ways that you can rapidly cut your budget to start making some progress on that emergency fund goal.
So let's hope that you're having some fun with your budget and you're enjoying your life. And that's where you look first for a little bit. You go ahead and cut the non-essential items out of your budget. And so if you're eating out a lot, if you're going out, a lot of expensive entertainment, hopefully you can cut things like that really easily. And then that will bolster your monthly savings so you can lock up at least the 3-month emergency fund faster.
Yeah, look to cut down on your cell phone plan. Maybe sell your expensive cell phone and buy a cheaper cell phone. We've done that in the past. You can downgrade to a less expensive, say, internet package, cut cable altogether. These are all small changes that you can make very quickly to free up a whole bunch of cash in your budget. There are also long-term changes that you can make that can maybe even have a more drastic impact on your budget.
Yeah, so if timing and things are right, like if you're in a more expensive area, well, maybe you can move to a cheaper area, like especially if you're renting and your lease is up. Well, but if you don't have that emergency fund, maybe go ahead and make that change where you save on your next lease a lot.
Yeah.
But that's not something that you can just do that.
Yeah, it could take some time, but the added benefit is that's more of a permanent reduction of your living expenses, and so that will actually reduce how much you'll even need to save in the first place to hit your 3, 6, and 12-month emergency fund goals.
Yeah, you could also get a roommate. You could look at your transportation. Maybe you have an expensive car with a car payment. Maybe you could downgrade, buy something a little bit cheaper, but still safe. Don't sacrifice your life.
All right, the other option is to earn more money. Now, a lot of people, when they think about saving more money, they focus very heavily on cutting expenses because cutting expenses are very easily in your control, and it's not always easy to earn more money. But focusing on earning more money, you're going to be able to earn way more money than you'd be able to cut from your expenses. Like, your expenses can only get cut so far. You still have to eat, but there's basically unlimited earning potential if you opt to make more money.
And not just really, really hard things either. There are quite a few different options, especially in the short term. You can look into different things to start side hustles. Like if you already have an interest in something, maybe you can get paid for doing that thing.
Consulting, tutoring, like you'd be surprised what people would be happy to learn. If you can play an instrument, if you can speak a second language, if you were good at English, you can tutor some kids and make some extra money.
You can train other people to do the current job that you do because you already do it in any number of ways. There are online learning communities that can let you do that pretty easily. And an easy one is look around your house. Find out how much stuff you have that has value that you're not really using or you think you might want to move away from. Well, you can sell that stuff, and that's an instant. Just take all that and just plop that in your emergency fund, and you might be well on your way already.
And you can do things like save any raises that you get. Ask for raises. Your tax refunds, just don't spend that. Just put it all directly towards building your emergency fund.
Now, in the longer term, of course, the obvious one is getting a job that pays you more money, and so that might be something where you just need to apply, because sometimes switching jobs, you can get a 10 to 20% increase just from switching employers. Or you could say, well, I have a job offer, you should give me a raise because I am worth that more money, and that works out.
And we always like to emphasize that just because you're switching jobs doesn't mean that you have to work more hours to make more money. It could just be like, it's just the nature of sitting in the same job for a while that your raises become fewer and farther between. And so it's not that you don't have, the value isn't there, it's that your company has maybe started to forget your value a little bit, but other companies will see it and then refresh your company's memory, right? So you pit them against each other. So just throwing that out there.
Okay, so that's the way to get the money to save up and get your emergency fund. Now, in the interim, as you're saving that money, what do you do with it? You invest in the stock market or the slot machines, right? No, you need that money. You can't have it fluctuate in value a lot. Like, you might be able, one day, if you have a whole bunch of money, that might be okay to have it invested a little bit more aggressively, but you need it in basically a bank or a credit union.
So the one thing that you will want to do is separate your emergency fund from your regular expense account. So pull it out of your checking account, put it over in a savings account. If you have a hard time not touching the money that's in your savings account, then put it in a completely different bank in that savings account that doesn't have a corresponding checking account and no ATM card. So you just can't get to it. You've got to go all the way to the bank and show your ID and say, give me my money. So you probably won't do it.
But you also want to make it easy to put the money in. And so if it's being like withdrawn from your weekly or monthly, bi-weekly paycheck going into that other bank, then that's the best scenario.
Yes, make it automatic. You don't want to have, it's not a choice that you make every month. It's something that just goes out like taxes. You don't have a choice.
Now, to get a little bit better return on the money, so a savings account might not really have much interest at all, especially now. But so you might be thinking, well, a CD, and that can get you a little bit more interest, and that's totally fine. You might be thinking, oh, well, isn't there a penalty if I break a CD early if I actually need the money? But typically, that's like giving up just a little bit of interest, so I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Also, you can go with a shorter term CD, and as you build up, so you can do like 1 or 2 or 3 month CDs, and as you build up your emergency fund, then you can start doing longer term CDs so that eventually you'll have 12-month CDs where there's a new CD coming due every month, and so that is where your emergency fund would be stored, which is what we're actually doing.
Oh my gosh, I know that might have been a lot of information really quickly. But if you have any other questions, we can always do more videos on it. So let us know in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you are starting or already have an emergency fund.
Or if you liked any of the information that we provided in this video, we appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.